This station is
This
conducting
alert
a test of
system
emergency
picture radio.
broadcast. This is only a test.
Although because it does give you a countdown, it doesn't allow you to like do recording button ambush, which
You
kinda
cannot.
sucks.
No, it won't ever let you get away with it anymore, huh?
It's my favorite thing to do to humans. Internet. Anyway, internet, what is up? We're here.
Internet, what is up? Oh, sorry.
It's Weapons Free Wednesday,
Internet.
and we're doing what are we doing? We're doing part 2.
Terminalist rant part 2.
Terminalist Rant part 2, which we got glowing reviews from part 1.
Oh, everyone
People
was like,
DM'd me
yes.
and emailed me from all over the galaxy, and they were like, dude, you're spot on. Spot on. Speaking of which, up until just like a few minutes ago, would you like to hear the last message that we received on this
Sure.
on this subject? Just literally came into my inbox like just minutes ago. The person that sent this will remain anonymous, of course. Best part of the terminal list was your Weapons Free Wednesday review about it. Waited to listen until I watched the series, which I just did on vacation, and oh man, yikes, you were spot on. And as a side effect, I now hate my cloud defensive rain.
Good. They should.
As they should. So, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Not to mention the literally hundreds of others. Like, I mean, there were so many. There were so many that was just like great review, great review, great review, great. Like, I should just do a video of us, like just me scrolling through. Like
I'm pretty sure our Rotten Tomatoes review on the episode would be higher than the Terminalist. Correct.
So, anyway, here we are. And I would just like to also put out the disclaimer for this part of the second half of the review, is that because there was some confusion on some of the rantings that I saw going on I saw some things that got posted on Jack Carr's page. Why does Lone Element hate you was one of them, which I don't hate.
It's not true. We do not hate Jack Carr at all.
We do not hate Jack Carr in any way.
We just hate what they've done to his baby.
Yes. So Jack Carr is a human being, phenomenal, top shelf human being. Jack, love you, dude. I mean, you won't have the balls to come on this podcast because you won't want to answer the questions that I would ask you, because I know what you have to do right now. Which, if anybody else is confused as to why they're doing such a hard media push on a turd, let me just explain to you that they're not going to admit that they fucked up, even though it's glaringly obvious to those of us who have read the books, more importantly, read all of the books, that this was a huge glaring fuck up. They're not going to do that. They're going to champion this thing all the way down the road. And the reason for that is they're trying to get season 2 greenlit, which here's what my hopes are. I hope that in his heart of hearts, Jack, who I do know is a man and is a human that walks this earth, hopefully him and I will be able to have an offline conversation about it at some point, in which case because him and I frequent a lot of the same industry things, and it's only a matter of time. Jack, motherfucker, it's only a matter of time before I catch up with you. And when I do, him and I are going to sneak off to a dark corner, and we're going to have the conversation that will never be in the public purview, ever. It just won't be. But I'm hoping that I can catch him in a moment where he and I maybe are in agreement about a few things. But I realize that he may be contractually bound to where he can't say any bad things about it, even if it is the flaming dumpster fire that it actually is. He may be contractually bound to where he cannot openly be critical of literally anything. Not only that, monetarily, it's in his best interest for it to get greenlit for another season. So I understand why they're in vehement denial about the fact that it does, in fact, suck. And here's what I know confirms that, is that every single human being that I've talked to that has has read more than the first book, 100% of the people that I polled that are like us, that have read book 2, book 3, book 4, book 5, or at least they're into book
first
3
books,
have every single one of them have unequivocally said turd.
Yeah. And I mean, you've been to art school, right? So you know that like when you hand in a turd, there's not much else you can do but like polish it up and dress it, make it look pretty on the plate and hope it passes. And that's kind of what's happening, I think, with his media thing.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
and
I mean, I know
that could be no fault of his, you know? Like,
correct. Well,
here's something I wanted to bring up is like, how much control do you think he actually had on set?
Over small stuff, maybe a little bit. Like the stuff that I bitch about the most, like the tech advising shit, which fucking Jared Shaw, you're gonna catch some fucking massive heat, motherfucker.
Yeah, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
We're gonna get to that. But the here's the thing is like I don't know that he had a lot of control over anything. Like I said, maybe small stuff in passing. He could have made little tiny adjustments here or there.
So, or like it might have been larger things during the consulting and the pre-planning and pre-production, right? And then they were like, "Oh yeah, Jack said it was good in the whatever," and then he shows up on set and they're like 12 hours in, and it's not like he's gonna want to interject and fuck up $1 million day of filming.
Yeah, and then plus
he should have. He should have, but you know.
Well, as a human being, he's like a very glass half full dude. He's a very positive, very glass half full, very good energy dude. So like, he's probably just super excited that this is happening at all because it's so fucking hard to get a movie made. Like,
I mean, he's admitted on the podcast that he was like, "Oh my god, and those are my characters, and this is the thing I've written." And then there's
I don't doubt for one second that he's probably just lost in the magic of everything. He's lost in the woods of Lothlorien for my fucking Lord of the Rings fucking nerds out there. Like, I'm sure he's lost in, he's sitting at Rivendell right now drinking wine right now. Like he's having a great fucking time. And I think that's part of it. I think that he's lost in the magic of the event. He's just super happy to be there. He's a super positive dude. And, in his massive lack of experience in actually how movies are made and production and like how things go and work on set, I'm sure there's a learning curve there. And I'm hoping that through this experience, he's going to make Jack, I'm looking at you right now, motherfucker, make way better decisions going into season 2. Okay. Cause let's hope if anything happens out of all this, we know that they're going to march down the road and they're going to be like, yes, it's the most amazing thing. It's awesome. Yes, everybody, the most watched show on fucking Amazon right now. Okay. I don't necessarily know that that's the case because...
I mean, several shows have held that title and it comes and goes, right?
Yes. Also, I did a little bit of like YouTubing. I did a little bit of YouTube recon, and people that are watching Jack's YouTube channel and watching the podcast, like he's got like, I think on his the first one they did on the Terminal List, the podcast that he's doing with David and Jared on the podcast, like about the episode breakdowns.
Yeah.
It's got like 19,000 views. Meanwhile, there's a thing that got posted last week from Stranger Things that has 5.8 million views.
There's also been 5 seasons of Stranger Things and a crazy loyal fan base.
Yeah, but there's also been 5 fucking books of the Terminal List. So like, okay, yes, I understand to your point what you're saying, but numbers, math, analytics. Anyway, I don't know that.
Okay, speaking of numbers, math, and analytics, I remember you did this podcast with Andy one time where you were talking about being on set with Steven Seagal.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so is this Jack Carr's case of going through all the repetitions and telling him where he should make the beats on set and hit the action points, and then you end up with a flaming dumpster fire of karate kicks?
I mean, you're not wrong. These are the reasons why I would love it if Jack would come on the show, but he's not going.
I mean, like, I so want to like keep Jack just like, dude, it's not all your fault. Like, it was a train wreck out of control. But at the same time, like, ugh. So if I can make you be like, oh, shit, maybe he's right.
I mean, here's the thing. After watching their podcast breakdown on Jack Carr's YouTube channel where he's interviewing David and Jared, even like getting that breakdown and understanding the dynamics that were going on there and like knowing what the back end of everything looks like, the dude in the room that should be getting fucked down the hardest right now is Jared Shaw.
Yeah.
That's the dude that right now should be getting like fucked down super hard, because David threw him under the bus where he was like, and Jared was there during the dailies and he watched everything and he approved everything and he was
straight up
he was doing all the things and I'm like, no. Okay. First of all, if you're doing 18 things, you're doing none of them fucking good. Okay. Yep. So the fact that he is an executive producer, the fact that he is was going through and helping the staff writers do the rewrites. He was supposed to be the lead tech advisor. He's acting in it. Oh, by the way, like, I think this dude got spread way too thin and probably started trusting people to just do their jobs. And then people weren't doing their jobs. Plus, I mean, he's apparently, according to like what I've surmised so far, he's super BFFs with Chris Pratt. So there's probably a little bit of bromance in the fucking works here where like, it's one of those situations where everybody's just happy to be in the game playing. And Chris Pratt probably was like, oh, that's rad, or this, there's that. Because I've been around stars. I've seen what happens when there's a star and then everybody's around him that's supporting that star to do the things. Like all the staff, when a star likes something and is like, oh, that's awesome. Everybody's like, yeah, that's so awesome. Even though realistically they're like, that's fucking bullshit. And no one has the balls to fucking probably stand up and be like, hey,
I spat in your Skittles.
Yeah. Hey, Chris Pratt, not rad. That particular thing, whatever it was that you just thought was rad, not rad. People
Chris
don't
Pratt
have the
decided
balls
the final move.
Yeah. People don't have the balls to do that. So here's the thing. Do I think Chris Pratt's a villain? No, I like him. I like his work. I know what he does for the veteran community. Do I believe that they wanted this to be authentic and awesome? Sure. But they fucking fist fucked it to death with their like Alfred Hitchcock fucking nonsense. Like, it just, no, you guys fucked.
They tried to like read too much into it and interject their own subjective like interpretation of the book into it and how they wanted it to be filmed.
Yeah, they just believe,
which is like they're like, we got a movie, we got to like make it really deep and artsy, when they shouldn't have. They should have just stuck to the source material, right? Like all the decisions and artistic choices were made already for you by Jack Carr in the books.
Right.
All you had to do was take that and put it to screen without fucking it.
Yeah, and then David, the showrunner, was like talking about, I think he shed some good light on that interview about how, things change a little bit and you have to do some rewrites to transfer things into a visual media. Plus the director,
they did. Yep.
The director he's got to put his artistic license and his thumbprint on it. So I understand all that. But the problem is it just wasn't translated well. They didn't do a good job they tried to get too artistic with what they referred to as the Alfred Hitchcock style, which is realistically, what it would have solved a big problem for the audience in like putting pieces together is a fucking voiceover of fucking Chris Pratt's character, James Reese, narrating to himself what's going on inside of his head. Like if they just would have done some like voiceover narration, and I know some people are not big fans of that.
Yeah.
But I feel like in this case, it would have fucking probably helped out a lot, and it would have taken a little guesswork out of it for the audience to be like, what the fuck? Because they didn't have enough time to do, or I should say they didn't make enough time because maybe they didn't have the production budget to do it, but they didn't make enough time to really process what was going on in James Reese's head and what was going on with the character development that was going on around him and how he even got, according to the book, like how he even started like putting these pieces of the puzzle together. Cause it was a pretty substantial process. It wasn't something that started happening immediately. And the way they portrayed it at least in the episode 1, is, when Boozer kills himself. But there was
It
a
all
lot of other
started with the
things.
cartridge, right? Like the case, the
Right.
caliber.
Yeah. And I mean,
Okay.
cool, because that was part of the book, but they cut out like all the things that happened to him, like with his, brain treatment or his brain tumor that they discovered
Yeah.
in Afghanistan. And but they changed it to Syria. And so, which I'm not mad about. Like, okay, cool. We changed the combat venue. Not a big deal.
That's not a big deal.
No, that's not a big deal. But I mean, just the way they put the character together and they were doing the character development and how it just seemed how rushed everything was. We saw a continuation of that. So, like, we last left off basically critiquing episode 1 through 4, and we hadn't seen 5, 6, 7, and 8 yet. So, basically, what happened was, episode 5. I remember I was complaining. One of the last things I complained about was like Liz Riley's character, she just appeared. And it's like this hot Southern belle that's like here to fly him around in a fucking plane.
Got a private plane, yep.
Yeah, you don't know why. So then they do
a little flashback.
The opener scene on episode 5 is the quick blurb on like how Liz Riley came to be, but they just rushed right through that, and it was sad because I felt like that was actually that quick scene was technically accurate. Like they were wearing the right gear.
Yeah.
They had the right weapons. The only thing that's complete fucking horseshit is like, what is this fucking ball cap bullshit? Okay? We're not wearing fucking combat. We're not wearing fucking goddamn ball caps in combat. Okay? We're just not. Okay? Everybody wears a fucking helmet. Everybody has nods on. Okay? Special operations primarily operate at nighttime. So, like, these guys fucking running around in Iraq in ball caps with no helmets on in a fucking daylight firefight against the Jaish al-Mahdi militia. No. It's a no. Okay? So,
I mean,
everything else, though, was technically accurate. Like,
they did talk about one of the armors in the second episode of the podcast. They're talking about like, oh, everything was accurate in that one. And I was like, wait, are they talking about the heli firefight? And I was like, oh no, they're still in episode 2. So
yeah, like this
is not to blame. It's the other dude.
Yeah, so they actually did a good job. In episode 5, they just
took like the Chris Kyle American Sniper set like costume bucket,
right,
and was just like here.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, so they actually did a great job with the tech advising in that particular thing, but it was very short. It was a very short. I think it was like the first minute and 50 seconds of episode 5. Like it was a very, very short blurb on like how they rescued Liz Riley. I would have loved to seen that unfold more. Like I want to see that from the time that they're in the hide site. Maybe see her helicopter actually get shot down.
Yeah, make it like a 5 or 10 minute scene.
Yeah, and then see how he betrays orders. He disregards orders because he was ordered not to intervene and rescue her.
Right.
And I would have loved to see him like, go through that whole process of being told by the JOC, basically the Joint Operations Center or the Tactical Operations Center, like not to go intervene and get her. And he's like, fuck that, we're going to go get her. And they do. And then they go through the whole process of like how they break down their hide site, get into their van, drive, instead of just like being right in the van. And one thing,
but at the same time, that will like develop a sort of like the character development in just showing that in a 10-minute scene, right?
Right.
You're like, oh, cool. James Reese went out of his way to go save someone, which explains why she is so invested, because she would literally be dead if it weren't for them. Because the way they portray it, it was literally like, oh, down pilot. Oh, yeah, they did their job. They saved him.
Yeah, she got shot down, and then they were like closing in on her. And I think this is a situation that's based on a real life event.
Right.
So, yeah, they were closing in on her, and they broke down their hide site and disobeyed orders to stay where they were at, and they went down there and they rescued her, which I thought, like, if you would have showed that whole sequence of events, it would have been fucking awesome. So, yeah, it would have been so much better. So, but the tech advising was better in that one chunk. And then as an actor, what I thought was really great is like what I noticed is Chris Pratt had these two situations during that episode, and then I think it was episode 6 or 7 maybe, episode, excuse me, 7. But we'll get to that in a second. But in this episode, he had that moment of his Guardians of the Galaxy humor where like
Yeah.
his buddy's in the back of the van about to shit himself, and he like looks back over the seat and he's like, "Don't shit yourself."
Yeah.
You know, like so you saw a blip, just a blip of like his character, of like his normal, him being him, essentially.
Typecast character, yeah.
Yeah, if they would have let that go a little bit more and interjected that a little bit more often, I think it would have been a lot better.
Well, here's the other thing too, right? Like if in all their flashback scenes, he is that like more jovial character.
Yes.
And then in all the stateside scenes, he isn't. That would have done everything the directors would have needed to have that mental disparity between what he's going through now and back then as a character shift, than having like a Hitchcock fucking bird fly into a window every like 2 or 3 minutes that brings the audience like out of the story.
Yeah, and that's what happened a lot. Like they revisited the whole bird hitting the fucking window way too much. Way too much. Like, got it. Omen, harbinger of death, bad things, got it. We got it
Film
the first
theory,
fucking time.
MacGuffin,
and we got it the second time. And you know what? We even got it the third fucking time. So like the 18 times that you showed that fucking sequence, we could have done without that. Instead, we could have used that time to fucking do more character development, in my opinion. But anyway, so yeah, it's just so and then we go down the line here. So then there was that, and then okay, they fabricate the shit out of this like FBI HRT. Well, first of all, the HRTs they're never involved. Okay,
Nope.
they're never involved. The Secretary of Defense Hartley, who's the mastermind villain in this whole thing in the book, she actually she actually gets a fucking dev group, assault troop, and brings them in and creates a special access program around it, high level special access program, and has them wave the Posse Comitatus on it to go after Reese on U.S. soil. And that's actually who's after him, is a fucking dev group unit, which
and then
brings in Freddy, who was Reese's sniper school partner, so like now I'm like, okay, how are they going to unfuck all of that?
I mean, and that was a great little moment too in the books. You're like, oh.
Yeah. So now we've got the FBI HRT in the mix instead of this like dev group troop. So anyway, it's a fucking problem.
Apparently don't know how to shoot him from when they crest the ridge line.
Right. Yeah.
But he blows it.
So then you've got the complete fabricated FBI bullshit, and then they get in this road chase with him, and then they like run him off the road, and then they shoot him.
Vehicle. Yeah.
They shoot him in the fucking arm, and now he's in a foot pursuit going through like wilderness area. Which none of this shit happens in the book, by the way, people. No. This is the shit that they adapted for the fucking movie. So like here's where I have a problem. Like if you want to adapt some of like the characters and the sequences of how people died, or you want to introduce new characters, or you want to do some of this other shit that they ripped apart and put back together, fine. But why are you making up like bullshit ass action sequences when the book is like chock-a-block full of those things?
Yeah.
Why the fuck
all
do you need
scripted out for you?
Yeah, it's completely done. Why do you need to add more extra bullshit that didn't happen and then do it
like,
horribly?
Oh, this episode doesn't have action in it. How do we add a little bit of action in it? And then it turns into like a CGI fake explosion shit pile.
Yeah, a CGI fake explosion shit pile. So correct. So now he's on. So here we go. Now we're on a foot. Now we're in a foot pursuit in this national forest area, and he's got FBI HRT people following him. Then all of a sudden he's like So he's wounded. He's shot in the arm.
Yep.
Okay. So the fact that he has to like break into some wilderness cabin and then rip the defib, the fucking heart attack fucking AED
Yep.
bullshit off the wall, take his
like
knife
a
and
Forest
cut
Service cabin. Yeah.
one of the fucking like chest seal things that has the leads hook up to it that will shock the piss out of you to restart your heart. And he uses that to seal the wound that's high in his upper shoulder. Like the wound is like right here, a bullet wound. If you take your fingers right here and you just push in on the edge of your delt right there, there's bone there.
Yeah.
So like you blew apart the fucking a 5.56 is gonna blow that.
His arm wouldn't work.
It would not work, and he would have fucking been down right there. Like he wouldn't have ran off. You're not gonna run off. I mean, you might run off. You're not gonna make it very far.
Was it there, or was it like in the fat of his muscle going?
I don't know. It just
and maybe it wasn't a 77 grain, so it poked right the fuck through.
Right.
They weren't running 20-inch barrels, so it didn't expand frangible.
Right, but if you look at what the FBI guy was shooting a short gun. Anyway,
like I said, there wasn't enough velocity to blow it into chunks.
That's
and
not
he's Chris Pratt, and they had really good rewriters apparently.
No, so now you've got this wounded dude who's running, gets to this cabin. Okay, so here's my argument with this. A lifetime operator, Navy SEAL, multiple combat deployments. This is his job. This is like his thing. This is what he does. You mean to tell me that fucking Mr. High Speed Navy SEAL forgot to pack his blowout kit in his backpack?
And left his meds in the car.
Really? The one thing that's like keeping his brain from like shutting down on him.
Yes.
He's going to forget that.
That he pops every like whatever hours.
Correct. Supposedly. So he's going to forget his medicine. Oh, and did you see the back seat of the car that he stole, by the way?
Yeah.
I found it highly interesting that he like, didn't he carjack somebody for this vehicle? Pretty sure he carjacked somebody for this vehicle. And there was no, he carjacked somebody for this vehicle, and then there's like all of his like shit is like strung out in the back seat. Like just dumped out all over the fucking place.
Car crash. All of his shit is in the cab.
Yeah, just magically flew out of his backpack that he probably had zipped up and secure inside the backpack. Now the backpack explodes, shit's all over the back seat, and now we just have meds back there. You know what? The batteries to his MVGs were probably stowed with his medicine.
Maybe.
Yeah, because his nods, once again, we're back to like mission prep and like what dudes do for a living. You think he's not going to pack extra batteries or... Newsflash, and hey, you know what? If the tech advisors, Jared, were worth a fuck, I don't know what you guys used to do in the SEALs, but we used to fucking take extra batteries for our nods, our optics, our lasers, and we would duct tape them on our fucking rifle butt stock, or we would duct tape them on top of the fucking hood that protects the fucking EOTech that's on top of the gun. Or we would fucking duct tape them a little set to the back of the vertical foregrip if we had one on our gun. So we used to carry, we'd have the
replace it before every time you go out.
Yeah. Or we'd have the buttstock tube storage system with extra batteries in it. So like the fact that he's running around now and has got these white Foss tubes, high-end fucking awesome night vision goggles, and he runs out of batteries.
And he doesn't have a med kit.
Really fucking interesting. Okay. Also, we should probably back up and we should talk about how he fucking kills old Horn with the EFP. So they build this like big fancy EFP. Let me just tell you something, people. If you hit a vehicle with an EFP that close, that thing would be a flaming pile of fucking metal, and everything within at least 100 meter radius in it would be dead as fuck and in pieces. Little chunks of meat splattered everywhere. So old Candace would have got vaporized.
Yeah.
Fucking Horn vaporized. Everybody in that vehicle vaporized or on fire melting. Okay? There wouldn't have been any of this like, oh, he's wounded. Oh, now he's climbing up the stairs. Let's do the really dramatic fucking walk up the stairs and shoot him in the forehead while he's laying down, which I didn't hate that. I was like, yeah, that's divine justice is to fucking canoe his fucking head.
you're driving past and then you set the bomb off. You don't die somehow when you're like 10 yards away in your car, and then you walk up to execute the dude that would have been like non-existent.
Yeah. Yeah, so there was just a lot of things.
If I see you on the battlefield again, I'm going to kill you. Blows off an explosive next to her. She doesn't die. Becomes love interest later on down the line. Huh.
Yeah, strange. Which we're going to get to a little bit more of like how that whole thing was complete bullshit. Yes, people, keep in mind, he put a pistol in Candace's face. She's supposed to be his primary love interest later on down the road. He puts a pistol in her face and threatens to kill her if he sees her again. Guess what? He sees her again. Twice. Doesn't kill her. Weird. Listen, I'm just going to tell you, a dude that they portray as this like losing his shit war vet with massive PTSD problems, this brain tumor that's fucking up his judgment, and also the fact that his wife and daughter were just moved. Let me just tell you something. My wife and daughter get murdered. Everyone dies. Everyone dies. And that's how the book was. That's how the book was. The book was true to life, real life, about what you would do and how you would respond as an operator, as a SEAL, if you came home after your troop got wiped out. You want to talk about man on fire shit that would not give 5 fucks about anything or anyone? The book nails it. The book nails the whole man on fire concept. If you haven't seen Man on Fire with Denzel Washington, go watch it. It's fucking phenomenal.
Great. Good movie.
He kills everybody, which is kind of how this situation is in the book. Like in the book, he fucking kills everyone in some of the most violent, amazing ways possible. And his plan was great. And in the book, guess what? He's making all of this shit look like an accident or a suicide to throw off law enforcement for as long as possible, which is how he has enough time to kill everybody on the list.
Yeah.
Like they don't really get on to him until the last part of the book where he's after
the senator. He blows up the office.
The senator.
Right before he blows up, yeah.
Yeah. Right before he fucking suicide vests the fucking
Pillar
Admiral.
And Tedesco. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the book, he fucking kills Tedesco with the suicide vest. And he takes Howard, who's the jag cunt, and tracks him with Liz down to fucking the Florida Keys, where he drags this dude out into the jungle into a mangrove swamp. And then he's the guy. Howard's the one that gets fucking basically skewered to a tree and gutted and has to walk around the tree to fucking disembowel himself. Not the fucking cartel dudes. So
I was so mad, man.
Yeah, when they changed that whole thing.
We're doing this now, really, with the wrong guy.
Wrong guy. Yeah. Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. And how they fucked that whole assault. And so that's the thing that got to me really bad. Like yesterday when we were watching, because we watched the.
You did our homework and watched.
We did our homework and watched the YouTube. We watched the YouTube video with Jack and David and Jared
videos. Yeah.
And they're talking about, like they're sitting around high-fiving about like how authentic it was and how technically accurate it was, and like no. It was terrible. You guys
down to the minutia and all the gear was
down
correct.
To the minutia.
And I was like, what?
Let me tell you what you did. You fucked up down to the minutia is what you did, Jared. Jared, maybe spend less time in fucking Chris's trailer drinking fucking Mai Tais and more time doing fucking goddamn what you're paid to do, which is like,
cool.
Tech advice.
You put honey in the background of the coffee scene. Great. How about you like get the gear right first?
I mean, yeah. Anyway, I would have less angst with this. Like, we shouldn't have watched the SEAL team circle jerk Dutch rudder hand job event that was Jack's YouTube breakdown on the terminal list with Jared and David. No,
I will say though, the one thing I thought that was interesting was when they did talk about like the shot where they had like the walls change and the quick costume off in the bar, and then like the fan film that Jack brings up that like inspired the bar scene. I was like, oh, okay, that's actually kind of a nice nod. It's like there were little things that like changed my mind in terms of like, okay, I can see that, but as a whole, I'm still incredibly disappointed.
Yes.
As most people are.
Yeah. Yeah, and if we continue to go down on the line on like, you know, I can't, like, David threw Jared under the bus. He's just like, yeah, he was there every day watching the dailies, dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's.
All the SEALs guys were there, and they were making sure it was accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. No. No. Okay. I mean, if you guys are confused, go back and listen to part 1 of this, and we distinctly lay out like how all the main key points of the tech advisory that were dog shit. And we're going to keep going down the line here with this whole like James Reese on the run through this wilderness area, being chased by HRT. And now suddenly there's some Rambo type shit that happens where he like covers himself in like mud and like pine needles and like lays on the ground. He randomly just had time to like cover himself in mud and pine needles and bury himself next to a tree where they just happened to walk up. Oh, what was the other thing too that he was doing? He was like running around. He was clipping 9-volt batteries together to produce heat, which by the way, I think that causes them to explode or at least catch on fire. And he's like throwing these batteries to like throw off the drone that's following him, tracking his heat signature, which...
Because everyone in the jock is too stupid to figure out, like, hey, follow the dot that's moving.
Right. Everyone's too stupid to follow the human-sized heat signature that has arms and legs. It's moving versus the fucking just little round circle of, like, heat that's stationary on the ground.
Yep.
Once again, Jared, where the fuck were you? Okay? Because that... isn't a thing. Okay, that's Hollywood.
He's sitting there like, that was my idea.
It's the dumbest shit ever. You're fucking fired, Jared. Step into my office because you're fucking fired. Anyway, so then we've got this Rambo shit where the HRT rolls up and then he just fucking creates this diversion. He's able to wrestle a backpack off this fucking HRT operator with no issues, just boom, like a ghost, pops up like John Rambo out of the mud, fucking grabs this backpack like a ghost and just vanishes into the smoke. Very far-fetched fucking bullshit right there. Then he starts fucking talking to them. Then another John Rambo homage, like has the radio in the rainstorm and they're talking to him.
After he cauterizes his gunshot.
Yeah, he takes a road flare.
Because the bomb tech also doesn't have an IFAK in their backpack.
Yeah, there's no blowout kit in the... He stole a breaching backpack that had a GP charge in it. Well, first of all, it had just sticks of fucking...
Semtex, again.
Which, guess what, people? We don't go out like that. We get issued it like that, and then we cut it into pieces, and we actually tape it up, and then like do what we need to do to build an actual charge out of it, which is what Jack does while he's in his little rain tent. I'm sorry, not Jack. James Reese does while he's in his little rain tent, and then he like after he's done doing his little Rambo speech on the radio, heats his knife up with a road flare. First of all, if people are tracking you and trying to find you, fucking up your noise and light discipline by lighting a road flare, especially when there's a fucking drone. There's maybe a drone flying over you trying to find a heat signature and you're going to light up a road flare. That's cute. And
it was rainy. It was rainy, so they didn't have drones. They made a point of saying that in the movie.
Okay, neat.
Remember that.
Then he cauterizes his like bullet wound in his shoulder with his knife. Because all of us are trained to do that. That's what they teach us at TCCC. At TCCC, you're trained. That's a treatment technique. You know what? We're going to ask Cam. We're going to ask Cam to specifically teach the road flare cauterization knife technique at the summer symposium to our patrons. That's what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to do a mini TCCC, and we're going to have Cam teach the road flare technique because it's standard. That's standard training for treating gunshot wounds. So we're going to do that. Then we've got this nice little fucking like scene where he gets chased to the top of the mountain, has nowhere to go. So he's like, fuck it,
Dude,
I'm
he'd
gonna
be
down
so
climb this
dead.
I'm gonna down climb this 300-foot cliff
Oh my god.
with no gear. Like, I'm just gonna free down climb this thing with a shot arm. I don't know what people that like
Yes.
getting shot right here in your shoulder and then needing to down climb with a pack and a rifle on 300 feet. It might be a little problematic.
And then he falls and like breaks every bone in his body on a rock.
Right. Perfect. So that segues into the next fucking trash.
Pam.
Right. Where he's like down climbing and he can't hang on anymore and his Solomons don't have enough.
I have a headache.
Yeah, and he's getting this really bad headache and he falls and he takes like a 30-foot fall onto a rock. It's
on
like,
the edge. Yep.
His body hits like that.
With his rifle.
So let me just tell you this, people. If you fell like that and landed like he does, worst case scenario, you're dead, which would probably happen. That would create enough trauma to die, especially the way he fell on it. Worst or best case scenario, you're fucking paralyzed because you just broke your back and your pelvic girdle. Like, the way he landed on that, kind of like bladed on his side. Would have destroyed his lumbar spine and his fucking pelvic girdle.
Dude, it looked like a Jackie Chan stunt from the 90s where they just took a stunt dude and was like, here's $100, go jump.
Yeah, or they took a fucking... It looked like they took a dummy and just did like old school,
right?
Like chuck the dummy off and then the dummy hits and like... Yeah, it does this like, is super like deformed. And is like, crumples into this like deformed weird bent and I'm like, that would fucking kill you in real life.
I saw that and I was like, well, he's dead.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, dead. That equals dead right there.
That straight up equals dead. I have hit things at lower velocity and have broken more bones.
Right. Correct. And so then moving on, he just at some point decides to abandon his gun. Maybe because it was broke and fucked up because he fell on it from 30 feet.
Seals do that in Hollywood movies.
Apparently. He abandons his gun, which newsflash people know we're trained never, ever, ever to abandon our fucking firearms. Ever.
I raise you Exhibit A, Marcus Luttrell self-confession.
Yeah, don't even get me fucking started on that. That's a whole nother rant. That's a whole nother podcast and a whole nother rant. Anyway.
Seals on mountains leaving guns in Hollywood. It's a thing. It's a trope.
Apparently, yes. So, anyway, he then ends up getting run down by the FBI. And they circle around him, and now the FBI chick has him dead to rights and doesn't smoke him. So let me get this straight. He was so dangerous that you had to shoot at him by trying to flee from his vehicle. But now he's standing there holding a detonator, no hostage, no gun, but he's threatening you. Okay? Under laws of deadly force, if he's fucking acting if he has hostile intent or any type of hostile action, holding an explosive detonator, that's maybe could be construed as hostile intent. A trained FBI HRT chick is going to fucking T-box your ass. She was
the one that shot him, right?
No, I think it was the other dude.
Oh, was it the other dude? Okay. But meanwhile, he's going up the backside of the ridge and has a clear shot at him.
Right, so he's getting like closed in on by these HRT guys. Yeah. Excuse me. They would have shot him. They would have shot him dead as fuck. Standing there with the detonator. Okay? So, and then let's be really clear about something. Okay? The 5-pound GP charge that you made is that you carved this little like hand trench. You dug this little hand trench and now you drop this little like GP charge in there.
Yeah.
Is not going to blow off half the mountain and cause a landslide. So once again, hey, tech advisors, oh, Jesus. I fell down because I was getting
fucked up.
I'm getting so mad.
You fucked up. You got so animated. You fucked up.
Listen. So, anyway, they don't shoot him. And he blows off half the fucking side of the mountain and creates this huge landslide, which remarkably doesn't kill him. He's like standing at the epicenter right in the middle of it. Yeah. And he doesn't die and get buried by hundreds of pounds of mud and dirt and rocks. He just magically lives.
And he only saves the one FBI person that got buried.
Right. Yeah. And then he jumps in the river and gets away.
Which is probably like the only technically accurate part of that.
Look, guys, here's the thing. I would have had more respect for you guys if you would have just like had it be realistic to where like he evaded them on foot and jumped in the river.
Yeah.
And frogmaned his ass out of there. Like that would have been way better than the bullshit, especially the dialogue. How did you like the little like Army Navy jokes going on between the HRT chick who's former Army? She's
oh
like,
my God.
Even the Navy needs heroes. Like, bitch, shut up.
Literally that point I was like, oh cool, we're at like a Super Bowl party and there's two fucking idiots talking about which team's better right now.
Right.
That's literally all that I saw.
Yeah,
we're at
right.
the Navy Army Super Bowl party. Great.
Yeah. Super awesome. So hey, you know what? Good job. Good job, Jared. Good job on that. Super bang up job. Bang up job tech advising and supervising those staff writers, because you apparently did that too. Garbage.
Low clap.
Hot garbage. So then we what happens next? Okay, so then he gets away. He links back up with old Ben, and then they had this other shining moment. This was another moment where Chris Pratt's character, like his usual self, like shined through when he's making fun of Ben's disguise and telling him he looks like a fucking cracked out Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
I'm like, that's like, another moment of Chris Pratt brilliance.
I was like, that must not have been scripted. That was ad-libbed. They just had the camera rolling.
Yeah. And it was awesome. And I loved it. Okay, I laughed my ass off when he said that to him. I was like, fuck, there's the Chris Pratt I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for this burrito.
Right. So then they are going to do this big assault on the SecDef's mansion. Which, by the way, the whole thing of like how like the SecDef intercepts like Candace's story and like keeps it from getting published and going out on the internet, and then like
kidnaps her without kidnapping her,
and takes her to the fucking mansion with her to get the rest of the story. Yeah, all that was super weak shit. And then we get there,
50 cals going off.
Yeah. Oh god. Okay. Yes. So then we've got this like maritime.
Where do you start,
combat.
Brian?
I don't know where to start on this. Okay. So then we've got this maritime combat diver infill. Okay. Which cool. Yeah. Like I don't have an issue with that. That's cool and very very much realistic and possible. And in the book, that's how he infilled in the book, and it was great. Okay. So let me get this straight. First of all, you're going to use a 50 cal. You're going to use a Barrett 50 cal as a support weapon to engage within 1,000-yard envelope off of a boat at nighttime. And I didn't see any fucking like ANPVS 27.
There was no clip-on on it and no suppressor.
There's no clip-on night vision on it, and like realistically, the best weapon for that type of application, like if you wanted to use a bolt gun, okay, great. Let's use a 6.5 with a suppressor and a clip-on night vision device, or a thermal clip-on night vision device of some type, like the bullshit hog hunting FLIR fucking thing that they had on Chris's Mark 18.
Yes, correct.
Which I'll get to in a second. So then, or realistically, like a fucking 20-inch 5.56 SPR with some 77 grain in it, suppressed with a fucking clip-on night vision
on a boat from like 250 yards out.
Right, would have been way, way, way better, than a Barrett 50 cal. Like the Barrett 50 cal like has man-sized fireballs that come out of it at nighttime.
Yeah,
you're gonna draw fire so fast if you light off a 50 cal at nighttime. So, not great. Once again, tech advising. Tech advisor's just on point, Jared.
Or that was like, hey, can we sneak a Baird in somehow? Because, like 50 cals are fun. In which case, cool, all the power to you.
Yeah, no. You know what? No, just no. And so yeah, that was not great.
Yeah, but like of all the suspended disbelief shit, like that's a minor.
Yeah, it's not.
What weapons platform did Rafe give Ben on the boat?
Yeah, a 50 cal.
A 50 cal.
Rafe, who is a former DevGuru operator, would have chose a 50 cal to shoot in between a 500 and maybe 600 yard envelope.
While FBI HRT is conducting a maritime raid in their boats at the same time without ISR, knowing that there's a thermal signature on top of the lighthouse in an overwash position.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. So then there's there's that. The one thing I will say is that at least Chris Pratt had the correct gun. He had a suppressed Mark 18. It just didn't have any. It just had a FLIR hog hunting thermal on it. So yeah, not optimal. My question is like, how the fuck does he have a pair of fucking 31s when he's in this like trying to evade the FBI HRT? Like the whole thing just doesn't make any sense. Like it's like standard operating practice to hit targets at nighttime and use night vision devices with IR lasers. Why was none of this happening during the course of this whole entire show? Like every hit. Well,
because in the book, the nods got shot off or whatever at the cartel raid, right?
I don't think so.
I think he lost his nods at some point.
They might have got knocked off during like one of the fucking Tomahawk fucking killing episodes. That
right.
To get into.
But in the TV show, you have nods with no lasers, and then you have clip-on thermals that can see through smoke.
Yeah, well, I mean, thermals can see through smoke. But here's the thing. Like, this whole, like, I don't know whose fucking brilliant idea it was, Jared, to do, let's throw smoke grenades inside the interior of a structure.
And not have it burn down.
People, let me just tell you something about smoke grenades. They burn at a temperature that's, like, equivalent to the surface of the sun. Like, they're hot as fuck. Like, they will set things on fire, i.e. rugs or drapes or furniture.
Wallpaper. Pillows.
Things. You don't want to throw a smoke grenade in the interior of a house. Let me just tell you. Otherwise, you will burn that son of a bitch right to the ground in short order. Okay? It's basically like if you took a blowtorch and just, like, taped the
rolled it on the ground.
Thing on the ground and just threw it on the ground and let it roll around with the blowtorch going. That's like what a smoke grenade is, except it's got, smoke coming out of it. So this whole, like, I'm going to do this fancy jerk off thermal smoke CQB clearing technique that's never been validated in the history of mankind. We're just going to do this and it's going to be great and not set the house on fire is complete horse shit. Also, like, this whole, like, Jared, did you come up with that? Did you come up with this brilliant little idea of, like, let's do thermal hog hunting CQB tactics?
They had stunt coordinators and fight coordinators on set. That was
not according to old fucking David, the showrunner.
They had fight coordinators and they were trying to figure out the scene with the lawyer, and then they ended up just shooting him. This was in their podcast episode. They talk about not being able to figure out a fight on the bed. And so they were like, what would you do? And they were like, I would just shoot him. Okay, that's how that got filmed.
No, it's too much. Yeah, this whole, like, smoke the house out and do, like, thermal hog hunting tactics down the hallway. No, just no. And then, like, how he gets shot at the end by the dude that, like, runs out. And I'm a little confused. Why did the dudes who are the last line of defense for the sector only have pistols?
Or, like, listen to her.
So
or listen to her. Go out there.
No. Right, yeah. If I was her
We
security
can
lead,
close this door right now and be fine.
Madam Secretary, shut your fucking mouth, get on your face, crawl underneath your desk, stay on the fucking floor. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like listen to the person that you're in charge of their security be suddenly tells you what the fuck to do. No, that's not how any of that happens ever. So yeah, that whole sequence of him getting in there, and then that brings us up to pretty much the current situation where if you have any desire left to watch this show after listening to these two podcasts, if you haven't watched it yet and you want to watch it, you should turn this off right now because we're about to spoiler alert the fuck out of the ending.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Candace now suddenly becoming enamored with the SecDef.
Constance.
What did I call her?
Her name is Constance, not Candace.
Yeah, anyway.
Doesn't matter.
Shitty actress that they fucking picked for this role. Anyway.
Token pick.
Yes, so her, after she's been told by James Reese now twice to stay the fuck out of my Kool-Aid or I'm going to kill you, to the point where he put a gun in her face. Yeah. Now suddenly she's going to get in between him and the person that he believes is solely responsible for the death of his family and his assault troop in combat. She's now going to suddenly get in between him after he already put a gun in her face and told her to get lost. And if I see you again, I'm going to kill you. And now she's there.
Blew her up.
And he fucking talks her down.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry. She talks him down.
She talks him down.
To the point where, like, she fucks off long enough talking him down and he hesitates enough that the fucking
SecDef kills herself.
The SecDef fucking shoots herself at her desk. And then he's like exfilling wounded because he got into this tussle with this fucking guard and gets shot in the side. He's climbing into the ocean and the FBI HRT dude runs down and has him again, dead to rights, point blank range, and lets him go.
Who is also alone, who doesn't have like a team member with him.
Right. And just decides to let him go.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Blew up half his team like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
In a landslide on a mountain.
Yeah, no, it's...
Oh, maybe this guy has something to him. I should let him go.
Yeah.
Giga Chad, much respect.
Yeah, no. It was trash. It was trash. Okay? So, let's just do this. Let's just hope that whoever picks this up for the second season, if it gets picked up, okay? Because like I'm not a hater. Like, cool. Like I will cheerlead this along because I want people to be successful, especially Jack because he's such a fucking great dude. You know, and Chris Pratt's great. I'm a huge Chris Pratt fan. Okay. I really think I think the person that a majority of my angst over this situation, if I was going to pick out one person who fucking ruined my Terminal List experience, it would be Jared Shaw. Because supposedly he was the tech advisor that was in charge of all the tech advisory. And realistically, like at the end of the day, if they kept everything the way they kept it with the storyline and the bullshit poor me fucking PTSD story, the half-ass Hitchcock nonsense that they tried to fucking concoct and put in there, all of the taking of the things out of order, if they would at least got the gear and the weapons and the tactics right, I would have a lot less angst about this.
Here's where I would separate from you in opinion. I think my Terminal List experience was ruined mostly by David DiGliglio, whatever the fuck his name is, the writer.
The showrunner guy.
Yes.
Why?
Because I'm of the opinion that had the storyline been accurate to the books, but the equipment and the gear or the the stunts not been like up to par or accurate, that's an easier thing for me to suspend my disbelief and blame Hollywood for fucking up. Yeah.
So
like, if all the kills were straight to the book and the right people died at the right time and we got the right casting and there wasn't any sort of like weird fantasy interjection of like, I want to make it an artsy fucking like moody introspective film, I would have been okay with like, okay, whatever, Huey's and Rains, all right, cool, rubber dummy gun, sweet. Yes, he killed him with the tomahawk in the most accurate way to the book. I would have been okay with that. So like my disbelief of like of suspense of disbelief is different in terms of movies, I guess, in this sense than yours.
Yeah, well, I mean,
because there's been great movies with
I'm just
shitty
going to
fight
keep
scenes.
supporting Jack. I'm going to keep supporting Jack. I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to keep reading the books. Well,
100%. Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to listen to the books because Ray Porter is fucking awesome, and the books are awesome. Okay, so like, one thing I want to be clear about here with my opinion, people, do not let this sway you off the books because the books are fantastic.
No, I hope if anyone sees this TV show and goes, it sucks, I wonder if the books were any good, that they would go read all the books.
Yeah, the books are phenomenal. Books are phenomenal. So, and the way Jack Carr, basically has these character arcs transcend all 5 of these books is really great. Like, he really had to put a lot of thought into like how these characters were going to arc out over the course of this series. And he did a great job of that. Like, Jack Carr is not to blame, in my opinion, for any of this. Okay. So David, showrunner guy, and in my opinion, Jared, who,
and in some ways to blame
SEAL
Chris
team
Pratt.
crack cocaine he was smoking, where he thought that like it was okay to throw a smoke grenade into a fucking house on the carpet and try and fucking thermal hog hunt people in CQB. I don't know what kind of special frogman crack you're smoking. Did they teach you that in the teams? I don't know. I've never experienced that being trained as a viable CQB tactic in my entire fucking life. So
I mean, like, the other thing though is like with the with our group of guys that were in the tunnels, they were all SEAL teams. Like, we could have walked down the road with that crew of guys and like completed a mission. And I was like, and none of you were like, yo, this is wrong.
Right.
Like, of all the shit that they talk in circle jerking of like, this is legit. All these dudes were in the teams. All of these guys have like combat deployments. This is all true and accurate to like how it was downrange.
Yeah.
We got like underwater sniffing bomb dogs and
underwater sniffing fucking bomb dogs, and we wear black.
Yeah.
Apparently we wear black on over the beach assaults.
That I'm okay with. Like, the clothing choice, I'd be like, okay, cool. So they want to, like, in Hollywood, be production value, right? Like, you want to know who's on the team. So if QRF is showing up in multicam, you want the main guys to be in black. That I can be like, okay. But like the underwater bomb dog, and then
what would have fixed
in the wrong order.
Let me tell you what would have fixed that. If you would have put the fucking SEALs in AOR 1, which is their wrong. Desert digital.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying what they should have done. I'm saying what went wrong and it being like a minor thing.
I don't think any of it's a minor thing.
Like, if they had a PEC 15 on top with their cloud defensive rain, I would be like, okay, at least they have a laser. But like, they didn't even get to like ABC. They got to like A and a half.
Correct. Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Well, just for note, like, if you guys are hot washing this, I have a feeling they're probably listening to my podcast. So it just so happens that Jack Carr was stalking my page the day that I was like, I'm going to do a review that's going to make Satan fucking cry. And he just happened to pop up on my page. So, Jack, I love you, man. I know you're probably listening to this. You're a fucking phenomenal dude. Nothing but great things to say about you as a human. I support you as a writer, and I will continue to support the shit out of your books. But please, for season 2, do not let them fucking butcher the shit out of this like they did for season 1. Like, step 1, fire Jared Shaw. Step 2, let's get a new showrunner and I know you think these guys are the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it's probably because you have to say that to get season 2 greenlit. So I understand, man. I understand you're in a corner. You got to do what you got to do. It's no problem. Just make sure they don't fuck up season 2. Okay. Hopefully they'll take all this on board, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that's like had interesting and colorful things to say about this season 1.
Oh, I'm sure behind the scenes they're all sitting in the office like, fuck, if this gets renewed, we have to change some things.
Yes, we have to fix some shit. Okay. And realistically, let's keep in mind, people, that there are things called bots and AI on the internet. Yeah. So when they're like, oh, 90% of everyone loved this, well, that's because there's bots that they can use to manipulate on Instagram and on other social media platforms to fucking be like, oh, I love this. Oh, it was awesome. Oh, best show ever. Or, you can do things like, pay Tim Kennedy to fucking act like an idiot on his social media and be like, it's the greatest show I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, Tim. Like, I get it. Like, support the homies. I got it. Okay. Like I said, though, that would have been a completely different situation had it been me. I mean, I did. I promoted it on my social media page. I was like, before it launched, I was like, hey, go check out the terminal list. It's about to drop, because I was so excited for it.
Everyone was, to be fair.
So
everyone was so excited. None of us knew how bad it was going to be. We all had an inkling, and we all did not want it to be true. But alas, Hollywood does Hollywood things.
Yes, Hollywood doing Hollywood things. Okay. Jack, season 2, make sure they don't fuck it up. Okay.
If they cast the granny wrong, I'm going to be so mad.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, casting matters. That's another thing that Jared fucked up. I'm pretty sure, didn't David say that Jared had some like say in some of the casting?
Yeah, he got himself hired as Boozer.
Mm.
Well, Chris Pratt hired him as Boozer. So.
No, but David during that interview was also talking about how Jared was doing some of that he was like involved in the casting.
Yeah.
Like casting director type shit. Like picking people who were going to be in the film.
I don't know if that has to do with like which team guys got picked or like Constance Wu got picked,
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah. So
I'm going to assume it's like more like, hey, homie, are you off? Yeah, cool. Do you want to go be in this? Yeah, sure.
Yes, that's exactly how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's probably how Jared got his job in the first place. I mean, let's just be real about the situation. Like, he's super best buddies with Chris Pratt. So,
and I mean, like, okay, cool. He's got credits on Guardians of the Galaxy and the Tomorrow War, and he does stunts and some other shit. But like that dude was that dude was on SEAL Team CBS.
Oh, he was on SEAL Team CBS.
Yeah, so like the low grade benchmark of like what should a SEAL TV show be? He was on the TV show. And he saw like all the Rangers and former cops and like Delta dudes pretend to be SEALs. And then he became Tyler Gray of the Terminal List, and he royally fucked it up.
Yeah, he royally fucked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious what you said during the last show. Like, non-SEALs doing SEAL things better than SEALs.
I mean, it's easy to say when the caricature can be really easily played by people in that community.
Yeah, well, SEAL Team CBS did a better job than you guys did. Let that sink in. Let that sink in for a second, okay?
Oh, and guess what? They also didn't have help from the military.
Yeah.
They also don't get to go on Navy bases and film all the shits.
Nope.
They don't have a massive budget.
No.
Yeah. When they were like, oh, we didn't have like Blackhawks and carriers and shit, and like all the minigun footage in the Terminal List was filmed by us, and I was like, have you seen SEAL Team CBS? they do a great job. And they have miniguns in like every other episode.
Yeah.
And fucking helicopter pilots that went on to go work with Top Gun Maverick, you know, like shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I know in a million years that Jared nor Jack will ever have the balls to come on my podcast to talk about these things openly and candidly. I'm gonna go try and interview some people from SEAL Team CBS.
I mean, we should. You should talk to. We know a couple of them, right? We should talk to them.
Yeah, I know a few people over there, so I'm gonna get a hold of them.
Because they like. Have you seen any of their shit?
Yeah, I've seen short clips of it. Yeah, I haven't sat down and watched the whole episode. I've seen like parts and pieces of episodes, but I haven't like watched a whole entire episode.
Because like I got like, I was in Hong Kong one time and I was just like, all right, I'm bored in Hong Kong, jet lag. What should I watch? Oh, okay, free stream, right? And I was like, dude, actually, this isn't like half bad. Like my friends were watching like shitty TV shows like The fucking Office and like Bones and shit, and I was like, all right, so this is the caliber of television that's going around in the US at this time frame. And then I started watching it and I was like, actually the dudes are like running around clearing corners and like have the right gear, and the dog's like doing the right fur missile thing. And I was like, who are these people? And I started looking into it and I was like, okay, so for how like retarded and standardized boring the TV show like plot lines are, like the way CBS handles depictions of PTS and team life and integrating back into the civilian world and how to handle your family life and operator life and like all that shit as a civilian was like, knowing you and like other people, it's like that's way more accurate to real life than anything on the terminal list.
Yeah.
Or anything Hollywood has done for that matter.
Yeah, so like I said, usually everybody that I talked to that had not that had not read any of the books said they liked it. Then there was a few people that I ran into that read the book and they were like, it was okay. I didn't hate it.
Just the first book, right?
Yeah, just the first book.
Yeah.
Then there was people that I ran into that definitely just read just the first book that were like, it was trash. But literally 100% of every person that I talked to that had read book 1, book 2, book 3, or the whole series like you and I have, said that it was hot garbage and that they will not finish watching it. Like one of them was like, I turned it off at episode 3 and I will not watch it again.
I mean, Marcus was like, I don't want to watch it until I listen to your guys' podcast. And then I was like, part 2 drops tomorrow or like the Wednesday. And he was like, ugh. And like a couple hours later, he was like, dude, it was so bad.
It was so bad.
Yep. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Okay. So in summary, next time, guys, do a better job. Okay. Because you did not do a great job. And I know that's hard to hear. I know that's hard to hear. Maybe in your mind, I mean, and I'm not speaking about Jack, I'm mainly speaking about Jared. Okay. So this is directly pointed at Jared. Like maybe you thought that you did a great job. Maybe you thought you did an amazing bang up job. And it sucks when humans tell you that you did a great job and it wasn't great. So maybe, I don't know, if you want, hire me and I will make sure that it's not fucked up next time. Because that's what I do for a living. Massive.
Yeah, but then you'll tell Chris Pratt, like, okay, you've got to make a reload here, and it's this certain type of reload, and your arm shots, you have to do the reload this way, and then when they click action, he's going to do 43 barrel rolls and start dancing in front of the alien.
You know what?
Doing all the Chris
That's
Pratt
fine,
things.
because he can do that, but at least he'll be wearing AOR-1 with a fucking helmet, a pair
He'll
of
be dressed correctly,
and a goddamn Mark 18 with a fucking LA5 on it, and a fucking EOTech on a 193 riser with a magnifier and a fucking goddamn Surefire suppressor, like he's fucking supposed to.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
He can do all the ballerina fucking flips he wants to and waste all of my time that he wants to, but you can bet your ass he will be wearing an S&S plate frame, fucking plate carrier, an AOR-1, and be kitted out like he's fucking supposed to be.
I love how you just backed up my position of it wasn't Jared Shaw that fucked the pooch. It was the showrunner.
No, it was both of them. Fuck everybody. You know what? Where's Jocko when you need him? Jocko, fucking extreme accountability. Fucking you all fuck the dog. Take a page out of Jocko's book, okay?
Just hire clandestine media and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Go fucking hire Justin Melanek. He'll fucking fix your shit in a heartbeat.
Yep. And
okay.
He's not a SEAL or CAG.
Right. He's just a gear nerd like we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do we feel like we've beat this fucking horse to death enough? I
mean, I have one last point to make that, like, usually 9mm is known for over penetration, and when you shoot it inside a wooden boat, it doesn't do good things.
Yeah. Like maybe when you kill Ben in the bottom of a fucking sailboat.
Inside the bottom of and you're supposed to sail to Africa.
Yeah, penetrate the fucking... Well, I mean, we wouldn't have to be worried about our sailboat sinking by shooting 9mm through Ben's body and into the hull of the ship if Ben was to die like Ben was supposed to die, which was...
I mean, I didn't want to bring that up, but yes.
In the residence, spoiler alert, Ben is supposed to die because he's got Candace fucking hostage with det cord around her neck holding a detonator, and that's how fucking James Reese discovers that he's a bad guy, and he fucking face shoots him, and then fucking shoots fucking Horn, and then fucking triple taps the fucking sec def in the chest.
Yep.
And then he takes Candace and fucking throws her on a plane with Liz Hartley and has her fucking, or Liz Riley, and has her take off. And then he jumps on on that boat that fucking Rafe left for him, and he fucking hightails it the fuck out of there, and now you're into book 2.
Yep.
Sorry if you wanted to read the book and you haven't, and I just ruined it for you.
No, but I really don't care anymore. Because if you watch the TV shows, too bad. I
mean, realistically, here's how I feel about that. If you're lagging disgustingly far behind everybody else on like reading the books, because like book 5 just dropped. So like if you haven't even read book 1 and book 5 is dropping, sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Spoilers will be had.
Spoilers will happen. Okay, you got anything else?
Hire the right people.
Yeah.
That's my dad advice.
Yeah. Yeah, bro deals worked out exactly how bro deals work out on this deal, didn't it, Jack? And we'll leave it at that.
The Land Cruiser shot, though.
Yeah, I mean, the vehicle department was the only people that got anything right during the whole course of the fucking whole show.
Yep.
Good job, vehicle department. Fucking nailed it.
Vehicle and makeup did a great job.
Yeah, vehicle and makeup did a good job.
Everyone else fucked the pooch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jack Hart. Good job writing the original books.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry you had to watch your baby get like ripped.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to watch your masterpiece
shot in front of you.
Ass railed.
Because we all know that you know that we know that you know.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
Jack Carr, we know that you know that we know that you know.
They fucked
what the fuck is up.
Yeah.
Yep, not fooling anybody. Okay, well, on that note, I guess we'll get the fuck out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And we will catch you next week on Monday with Marissa Loren. So until then, we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Anyone who runs is a VC. Anyone who stands still is a well-disciplined VC.